Hello and welcome to How to Automotive. Today's video is all about the new Milwaukee Tools M12 fuel right angle die grinders. So the purpose of this video is to determine if these die grinders can replace the pneumatic version of it. So stay tuned for that. First, I thought I'd tell you a little bit about it. So we got the 2485/22, which is the kit form. It is available in the tool only if you're already invested in the Milwaukee systems. So in the kit, you're going to get a carrying bag that's going to come in. Inside is going to be a charger, the tool, two 2-amp-hour batteries, and the wrenches used to operate the chuck. The wrenches that you get are high-quality wrenches. You can also use standard wrenches in your toolbox. So the overall feel of the tool is pretty good. The battery pack is a little thick, but your hand gets used to it. It has a safety trigger, a variable trigger. So the advantage that this tool has over our pneumatic one is not just the variable trigger, but the ability to control the RPMs. So on the back, there's a switch here. You push it in power level 1, and you can operate it at 10,000 RPMs. Push the button again, it goes to power level 2, which operates at 15,000 RPMs. Push it a third time. The tool operates at 20,000 RPMs, and in mode 4, the most powerful mode, it runs at 24,500 RPMs. So just like the pneumatic version, it works with all the standard roll-lock discs, the wire wheels, the burr bits. So this tool is designed to work with all the smaller bits that you would normally use in a pneumatic die grinder. The largest you would want to go is about a 3-inch roll-lock disc. And all these attachments attach just like the pneumatic regular version does. And for a side-by-side comparison to the pneumatic version of it, you can see the new die grinder is a little bit longer, so that may affect some tight areas that you may want to get it into. So that may be a reason why you would want to keep your pneumatic version around. So the purpose of this video is to determine if this new die grinder can take the place of the pneumatic version altogether. So we're going to put it through its paces and show you how it's used on a day-to-day basis. So one of the first jobs I got to do was a transmission pan. I still haven't even charged the batteries. They're straight out of the box. They had like 2 bars on it. So the battery life on this tool is going to vary depending on what type of style of usage it's going through. If you're heavily grinding and bearing down on it, of course it's going to run the battery down. If you're just taking off some gaskets like this, it's not going to be too bad. The cool thing is it has options with the bigger battery packs, so the 4-amp-hour or the 6-amp-hour batteries, especially when you're working out in the open like this, where there's plenty of room so you don't have to worry about the battery pack getting in the way. You get in a tight, confined area, and some of the larger batteries may hinder you, though. So if you pay close attention to me, how I'm using the tool, how I'm free to maneuver the tool around to get into all the crevices and get the gasket materials out. And with the air hose version of it, you know, you would struggle with that, or it would be a little awkward and you would have to manipulate the hose. Also, you do not hear that compressor thumping and running. So if you have a small compressor like this, the pneumatic version of the tool will run the air out really quick and the compressor will be constantly running. So what you really need is a large 60+ gallon compressor with maybe a 5 or 6 horsepower engine to run a pneumatic die grinder, especially for any length of time. If you don't have a large enough compressor, a pneumatic version of the tool will bog down and you'll have to wait for the compressor to build up pressure to keep using it. So as you can see here, the die grinder had no problem cleaning up the transmission pan here. So my next demonstration for the tool is for you paint and body guys. So if you're doing dent repairs, you can remove the paint around the dent with ease using this tool and different, sanding grits or roll-lock discs, whatever you guys need to use to remove the paint and primer and all that stuff, so you can put the body filler on. So as you can see here, it made quick work of that. This also could be an application where you slow the RPMs down. It has a variable trigger. You can do it manually, or you can use the buttons on the back of the tool. That way you don't overheat the panel and cause warpage or anything like that. So that's an option for you guys. I let my buddy Chad try it out to remove some seam sealer on this job that he's doing here. And he had no problems removing the seam sealer using the tool. So this is going to be a great tool for the paint and body industry as well. For you guys that are doing a lot of brake jobs, cleaning up the hubs is going to be really easy with this tool. So as you can see here, it did a nice job cleaning this hub up so the rotor will mount flush on the hub here. So I came across a situation where I needed to drill out these rivets here, but the portion of the rivet in the center would not come out. I tried hammering this out, and I was afraid when I was hammering on it, it was flexing the door, and I thought it was going to bend the panel, so I thought it would be better to grind these out. So I tried the new die grinder. Some of them I was able to get the cutoff wheel in here and cut the head off the rivet, and some of them, as you can see here, won't fit in there, so we're going to use a die grinder bit or burr bit. So I got a standard cutoff wheel here. So the rivet here in the open, I'm going to use the cutoff wheel, and then I'll switch over to a burr bit and get the ones that are kind of recessed in there. So as you can see here, I'm grinding the rivet here, the head of the rivet off. The inner portion I had a steel core going through the center. That's what I couldn't punch out with the punch and hammer. And the outer portion of it was aluminum. So I'm just letting the tool do the work. I'm not putting a whole bunch of pressure on it. I'm just kind of light pressure, just letting the tool do the cutting. And it cut the head off with no problem. And then I did a little bit of touch-up grinding to make it flush. And then once I got it flushed, then I switched over to a hammer and I punched the rest of the rivet through. So once I got the rivet hammered out, then I went to the recessed area and I had to switch over to a burr bit to get the tight area here, so the regular cutoff wheel would not fit in here without cutting up the door frame. So now I'm using a burr bit to grind the head of the rivet off. So the horsepower rating on the tool is slightly over a quarter horsepower at 0.3 of a horsepower. And as you can hear here, I'm pushing down on it and bearing down on the tool pretty hard, and it's still running and didn't bog on me. So it made quick work of these rivets and did minimal damage to the inner of the door frame with that tool, and I was able to punch the rest of the rivet through and get this window regulator that I was doing out. So now here I'm using it to do a water pump gasket here, or remove the water pump gasket on a Chevy with an iron block. So this is a steel block, so you don't have to worry about digging into aluminum. So as you can see, I'm using it with exactly how you would use this tool on a day-to-day basis and do as many jobs as I possibly could to show you guys the benefits of using a tool like this, and so you could determine if yes, this will take place in my pneumatic die grinder, or no, it's still a little too big. So I wanted you guys to make that decision for yourself, and that was the purpose of me putting it through the paces and using it and showing you how it's used in as many different ways as I possibly could. So on this next task here, I'm doing some heater hose tees here, and I can't get them off, and I have the new replacement parts. So I'm going to use the die grinder to help grind the fasteners off. Now a straight die grinder would probably do this job a little better, but I was able to get this in here on a few of these and managed to grind the tabs just enough where I could get the hoses off these. These were really stubborn, and they did not want to come off. So what I did was just grind a little spot where the clip is holding it on. Just made a little incision right here on both sides of it, and I was able to pull the hoses off. So on a couple of those fittings, I had to use the straight die grinder, which was connected to my air hose. And as you can see, it had it protected, but it still made contact with the bumper here and made some scuff marks. So now I have to make sure I clean that up. And also the compressor ran, so I had to listen to that compressor run. So if you feel these die grinders are right for you, I will link them up in the description of the video. I'm Brian from How To Automotive. I'd like to thank you guys for watching, encourage you to subscribe, invite you to head over to the howtoautomotive.com website for more valuable videos like this. Thank you again for watching.